I am going to do a few different variations of bear pose. Bear pose is great for integrating your core. It's great for while you're pregnant, great for postpartum, but also great for people that are in athletics or anytime you're trying to really get your core functioning well and evenly. So if we have been more dominant with crunches and that kind of thing, this is a good thing to add in. I have sliders that I'll be using, but you can use a towel or paper plates if you have carpet. So for the starting position of bear pose, you are on your hands and knees. So you're in that tabletop position. Knees are about hip width apart, hands are about shoulder width apart. We are going to tuck our toes under, and we're keeping that pretty neutral alignment. So not a super big arch in the low back, not rounding out. Just, you can do a few tucks and tilts to kind of find your neutral. And then you don't want the head way up or drop down. So head is neutral as well. You want to keep the collarbone wide, and then you're going to inhale through the nose, and on the exhale, you are going to hover the knees. Now that is your low bear. So a good starting point is just learning to hold that, breathing through it, trying not to hold your breath. And then you can shift up to high bear. High bear is simply bringing the hips a little higher and back. So now your shoulders are slightly behind the wrists. Then you can shift back to low bear and high bear. So going through those motions of changing from one position to the other. High bear is great during pregnancy because it gets the hips a little bit higher than the torso, allowing baby to kind of shift off of the pelvic floor and take some tension off. The next position we're going to do is going from low bear to hovering 1 foot at a time. Now, it can be a lot on your shoulders, so if you need to, you can stretch the arms out and come into puppy pose to stretch out the upper back a little bit in between. But we're going to tuck the toes, hover the knees. So we're coming into that low bear position again. And then I want you to try to hover 1 foot at a time, making sure we're not shifting side to side. We're staying right in the center and using your core to keep yourself nice and even. Try hovering the other foot, trying to minimize that shift or dropping one hip. Bring that down. Now you can try lifting that foot again. To make it more difficult, you're going to lift the opposite hand and shoot this foot through to the other side. So you're lifting opposite hand, shooting that foot through, dropping the hips slightly towards the floor, and then coming back to that low bear. So hover the other foot, lift this opposite hand, shoot the foot through, dropping the hips slightly, and then coming back to low bear. You can also add in sliders for that same type of movement. So you would put the sliders or towel underneath the toes. Same kind of thing happening here. So you're hovering the feet, and I would start with just sliding 1 foot out and bringing it in. Sliding the opposite foot out and breathing in without shifting side to side, keeping it nice and centered. Then you can try drawing the leg through, lifting the arm so the foot keeps in contact. Sliding the leg through, and even though your foot is still planted on the ground, I find this can be even harder because your feet aren't as stable. Relax the knees down, take a little breather. So that's another version of making that bear pose harder and more difficult to integrate through the core. And you can also, when you're very early in your process, you don't even have to lift the knees. You can keep the knees planted so you're not hovering them and sliding one leg out and bringing it back. We have a tendency to shift over to that other side as we bring the leg out. So really use your core to keep yourself stable. Try not to shift over to that other side. Slide the leg out and bring it back. So you're still using your core to do this movement, and it's a great introductory move to do when you're early postpartum or when you're pregnant and you want to still work on those stabilizer muscles but not tax it too much for that splitting in the center. Now we'll take those out to the side. You're going to tuck the toes under again, coming into that tabletop, hovering the knees, and then it comes bear crawl. So you're simply going to keep all that alignment going and then shift opposite arm as leg forward. So coming into that crawling position and coming back as well. So depending on how much space you have, that's great for getting that cross crawl pattern in there as well. So as you can see, if you try all of them, there's a huge range in difficulty level, and you can always up it a little more. You can add in a gorgeous ball to squeeze between your knees. That activates some of your inner thighs, and that can help with integrating the pelvic floor, which is deeply tied to your core as well. If you have any questions, let me know. But I would always start with the easiest and gradually work your way up as you feel more strengthened as you go. And each day is a little bit different as well, so kind of listen to your body and try to honor it in how you feel that day and how your form is feeling. So have a good one.